Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. I don't know what I was about to say there. Dividend trading? I don't know. Anyways, good morning, Uzi. Already got a good number of people in. Hope you guys had a good day in derivatives. Anyways, to the charts. I think that my project today is to make a cool animation for when we click to the charts. It should be like this. We're here at Maine and we'll be like, to the charts. I think it would be great. What do you think? That's my idea. Anyways, we've had some interesting moves. Yesterday, Treasuries just really went, oh man, what just happened? Somebody just sold on the open. What the fuck? What just happened? Well, I think we missed it. I don't think I can participate on this, but I don't know what just happened. Somebody just hit block sell right there at the beginning, and they just, man, look at that. It's crazy. They crazy. And we got some numbers. Well, so anyways, Treasuries moved up quite a bit yesterday. E-mini, even though they had a big move down off of Kudlow's comments, they recovered and ended the day higher. I still feel that this correlation needs to end. Oh, and good morning, wrong. Already up 5 ticks. They want to keep it below the initial balance? I don't know. That's weird. But the open was 28. So there's that. What else? Okay, so anyways, we have news, right? In about 9 minutes, we will get Canadian GDP and then US core PCE price index, personal spending, and personal income. So, I love the emoji, wrong. YouTube should give us custom emojis like Discord does. And Twitch does. This is the biggest feature missing from YouTube. If I could define emojis that were just for this channel, I think that would be great. Although there are a lot of, I didn't realize that the flying money emoji is a standard emoji. I bet if you could figure out the code for it, or you were on a phone, you could put the flying money emoji in YouTube chat. Anyways, I digress. They do if you do memberships, do they? I have to look at that then. Paul Krugman, what happened in the debates? Politics of nostalgia took a beating, and I don't just mean Joe Biden. I mean Bernie Sanders too. Thank you. Yes, you know what? For once, actually, no, this isn't the first time. This is maybe like the second time that I've agreed with Paul Krugman on something, but he is right. Anyways, I was going to say these are really important numbers for Treasuries. So somebody maybe is placing a big bet ahead of the numbers. I wonder if they know. It could totally come out that personal spending and personal income comes in at higher. So if personal income was higher than spot 3, that would be significant. Personal spending, they're expecting it to be spot 5. If that was higher than normal, that would be significant as well. And the price index, if that came in higher than spot 2, that would be significant. I really think that we could have like a monster move down. What else? That's it. Okay, so anyways, the debate. I think Paul Krugman is right. Joe Biden, even though he defended himself admirably, I think that they piled on him a bit too much. And the place at which I realized it, because when it was him and Kamala, I was like, okay, oh, there you go. Wrong found it. The flying money. So anytime that the Federal Reserve talks about easing, that's what we should use. No, when it was Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, I don't know a whole lot about that issue. Only that when I was listening to them talk about it, it sounded to me like Kamala Harris was winning the debate on the merits of the argument, and Joe Biden tried to detract and go on this big rant that, he's not racist or whatever. But she said, I don't believe that you're racist, but you were on the wrong side of this issue. That was very damaging to Joe Biden. But then at the end, when Rachel Maddow hit him with the question about the Iraq war, man, oh man, that really hurt. And it was a death by 1,000 cuts. I think that Joe Biden is going to fade after this debate. That's my prediction. I think that Sanders did poorly as well. Now, Sanders, he didn't get hit by anything in particular. It was just, he just didn't look that great. With all those people out there, I got to give you people who sat through the debates credit. I can't do it. Well, I tell you what, it was exhausting to do 2 days in a row. This is crazy. I hope they never do that again. Anyways, so I don't think that Sanders looked all that great up there when he was sitting up next to his competition, especially not compared to Warren. And I really think that the socialist activist types are going to go after him. I think that they're going to switch to Warren and they're going to destroy him. Also, I'm just looking at the headlines. Pete is Pete is something special. The way that he talks is so clear. And you'd say, well, it has to be memorized, but not everything that he said was memorized. He was smart enough to come up with good ways of saying things, even when it was on the fly. That it's like, it reminds me, I remember one time I went to E3. And at E3, you'll run into like paid cosplayers, like you'll be at a booth and they have the booth girls. And the booth girls, like, they deck it out. Like, they put on body makeup. So even their skin is like flawless. And you look at it and it looks great, but it looks too good. And you immediately know that it's not real. And I feel like that when I listen to Pete, is like, there's no way that anybody is that good at speaking in a debate. I've never seen anything like it. He did a really good job. And almost all of the headlines that I'm seeing on Reddit and other places are talking about Pete. So I would keep an eye out on him. I think that him and Kamala Harris are probably going to benefit the most from this round of debates. Did they make sure to address the issue of our autistic, paraplegic, LGBTQ Sherpas and their access to government healthcare? Well, I don't think that they talked about Sherpas, but I'm pretty sure that all of the candidates support universal government healthcare for all of those people, even though they didn't address Sherpas particularly. One of the moments that the Donald Trump supporters are highlighting this morning is that when they basically asked about healthcare for illegal immigrants, and they pretty much all rose their hands. I really think, man, the Democrat Party has a good argument that is fundamentally flawed because their argument is all about compassion. And when you hear them talk about what's going on the border, and they sound very compassionate, and it's very much like, yeah, what is going on in those detention centers is not, good. We don't want people to have to live like that. It's a good thing that they passed the bill yesterday, and I hope that the agencies involved do the right thing and use that money wisely to solve the problems. And I hope that the money that we gave them is enough. Okay. But the problem with the Democrat argument here, it's reflected in what Pete was saying. One of the things that he said is that, oh, wait, we got the news. I should shut up. We got the news coming. Bum-ba-dum-ba-dum. Yeah, Uzi knows exactly where I'm going. It's a reference to Democrats finding more and more obscure minority Democrats to shill for like they're a majority. Yeah, exactly. Okay. I'm really tempted to try and play this on the E-mini, but I don't really know how the E-mini behaves on these kinds of moves, so I'm going to try and pay attention. Okay, here it goes. They're selling a little bit, but not a ton. Okay, so I can see core PCE price index is spot 2 versus an expected spot 2. Personal spending was less than expected spot 4 versus spot 5. What about income? Give me income. Income was spot 5 versus spot 3. So a little bit of mixed numbers, but I think that personal income number is important. But I don't think that I can take a trade like that. Tax the working class to death, so homeless people with the propensity for toy train collecting and gender bending can have access to free needles for their heroin use. Well, so one of the things that Pete said was that the majority of Americans support a pathway to citizenship for illegal immigrants already in the United States. He's kind of right. If you look at polling, a majority of Americans do support some kind of pathway to citizenship. But there's a problem, and I think that a majority of Americans would agree there's a problem here. If you go in and you say, everybody residing in the country illegally today, we now create a pathway to citizenship for you, that is going to attract more people. That's the problem. And we all know it. You've got to solve the problem of them coming over first before you can start to deal with the people that are here. I actually believe that Donald Trump would sign an amnesty bill if all of the other things were solved first. I really think so. And so it's like, they have a good argument, but it's fundamentally flawed, because if you let them do what they want to do, it would be an unmitigated disaster. Like, you think that we have a border crisis now? Say that we're going to give universal health care to everybody that can make it across. Everybody in South America is going to try and make it over. Right now, I think they're saying that like a third of people would be willing to move. It would be like 70% of people would be willing to move if that's what the case was. And they hide that behind charitable words. But yeah, Paul says I love Trump. Well, I like him too. Anyways, but I have to say, I got myself off track there a little bit. Pete Buttigieg or Booty. How do you say his name again? Buttigieg. Anyways, hey Nicholas, how's it going? The goal for the leftist elitist class is to create massive labor surplus to depress wages for corporate elite and incentivize them through copious welfare system to vote one direction forever. Yes. Paul says I love shit. Wow. They gonna make it back up to 28, or are we gonna fail that number? E-mini didn't really react here. So because there was no reaction to those numbers, there is consumer sentiment and inflation expectations at Booty Judge. That's right. I was thinking in my head, it's something funnier than that. No, it's Booty Judge. Which is like, how do you win with a name like that? I dismissed him at first just because of his name. I'm like, there's no way anybody can win with a name like that. And I still kind of feel like there's no way anybody could win with a name like that. But there is something special about him, because when I listen to him, I know that what he's saying, that there's problems with what he's saying, but I want to believe him. You know what I mean? And a Democrat has never done that to me. He has a special quality. He is on, probably in terms of like his personal charisma, maybe on the same level as Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. I'm not joking. I mean, let's see how it plays out. But my initial impression was that he may be like the real deal. And if he wins the nomination, which I think he has a really good chance, if he wins the nomination, I think that Donald Trump will have a hard time dealing with him. I'm not quite sure, because aside from the thing that's going on in South Bend right now, issues with Buttigieg and race, and we'll see how he deals with that. But other than that, I don't see any super, and his name, I don't see any super obvious weaknesses with him, right? With Kamala Harris, like I watched Kamala Harris at the debates and I was like, oh, she did a dang good job. Okay. But she's basically where she is today in partly because she slept with somebody. And that's, I don't know how you play that out as an attack in the campaign, but I think that it's going to come up and I think it's going to hurt her. He's got the LGBTQ thing going for him pretty high on the progressive stack. Yes. Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, and Julian Castro have a few points on the card, but LGBT is higher on the stack. I think that Julian Castro right now could be viewed as higher on the stack by many people. I think that the hardcore LGBT people, you know, like these people that think that abortion is an important issue for transgender people. You know, because that's what Castro said. And I think that those people are totally going to flock towards Castro after the last debate. Because the thing is that even though Buttigieg is high on the list, he did not play it up at the debate at all. His if you didn't know that he was gay and you just watched the debate, you would have thought that he was just your standard white guy. In fact, that he was in the military would be even more like, he's just another white guy, right? I think some Democrats would be skeptical of him. So I think that Castro might increase his support a little bit, but only among the most diehard, right? He's got a lot of good things. I actually put money on him. Let's go and check and see what happened. Predicted.org. Oh, I have to do it in... Some of these websites don't like... Some of these websites don't like a web browser with security. Okay. View market. Oh, okay. So I still have an offer out for Kamala Harris at 15 cents. I don't think that they're going to fill me. And I got filled on Pete. But it doesn't look like that market has changed a whole lot yet. Other than what happened during the debate, you can see here Harris went from 12 to 20. I'm hoping for a little bit of mean reversion. Warren actually came down a bit. That's interesting. We need these other people. Yang plummeted, didn't he? Yeah, Yang just got destroyed. Buttigieg up a little bit. Harris up a lot. I would really like Harris at 15, but I don't think they're going to give it to me. If they had a female Muslim up there, it'd be a real battle because Islam is higher on the stack than LGBTQ. Yeah. The ZP and ZN are avoiding their initial balances like the plague to the downside. Yeah. I'm a little... I don't know what to make of this action because the context of the day says to me up. So it's the end of the month. There's not any auctions or anything, is there? When Treasury direct. Upcoming auctions. So today is the 28th, right? Oh, we need to change the title, guys. Let's do that. I think that I am being a little bit too ADHD right now. Okay. And that bunny is going at it upstairs. Somebody needs to take her outside today. We're still close enough for those initial balances for it to be a coin toss. At the moment, though, they're trying to keep them down. Is Facebook a buy now ahead of its crypto endeavor? Oh man, that's a tough question. I don't know enough about the technicals of Facebook to really comment on that right now. I think maybe later today, when we get into the quiet section, so like in about 30 minutes or so, ask that question again and we can look into it. On the currency itself, I am skeptical about how well it's actually going to do. But the question is going to be how much revenue would it actually bring into Facebook? It may actually be significant. So, morning, I believe it's going to be rangy. We have the summit tomorrow, and fundamentals say range day based on previous days, but don't quote me on that. So, what about previous days makes you say range day? The thing is, we got pretty good trend down on Wednesday. We got pretty good trend up on Thursday. I felt like they were waiting for this news. This news comes out. It wasn't significant. So that does, to me, say range. I guess maybe that's what you're saying. But then the other thing is it's the end of the month. So end of the month means more likely to go higher. Okay, I'm just looking at the auctions. There's no auctions today. There is some weekly ones on the 1st. That's Monday, right? Yep. There are some on Monday. I guess given that we're at the end of the month, and just the way that the E-mini has been trading, we may be stuck in one of those options expiration kind of mud where it doesn't want to move too far away from the balance. But when I look at ES, well, they're a step higher than they were yesterday in ES, so I don't know. Tough call, but this action that I see right now, I think they're moving down because of personal spending was higher than expected, but the move is not enough for me to really short it. We opened within yesterday's value, so it could be rangy, but it could kind of be a big rangy, yeah. We had so much support at previous lows. Each time they went lower, the levels held, and this might be a ball that bounced but lost momentum. Higher? Yeah. Well, I think that if it was to be a rangy day, you could still... Yesterday's point of control was 22. So there's a chance that they move back to 22. 28 was the other side of the distribution. They kind of distributed once from 160 to 22 and then up to 28. Will they try and visit 22 again? I've got 155.03 as my first step to the downside in ZB. 03. Okay. Now, you know what? I wanted to add the CCI on here. That's something I think I'll do here. I really like this one that I wish I could share this with you guys, but this adaptive CCI that John Bottomley gave me is awesome. Yep, and 22 in ZN. Okay, So he's looking at yesterday's point of control, essentially. Let's get rid of this ROC one. I don't... Just having it there for a few days, I don't see any point in it, but adaptive CCI has been helpful to me, and I've done some back testing with CCI. I did a back test yesterday. I did a back test on the first 6 months of the year, and I found a strategy that was like, it had a profit factor of 5. And I was like, what? No way. So then I increased the time, and then it didn't really actually have edge. But I got really excited there for a second. There's a nice bid at 22. On the downside? Oh no, you're talking about in ZN 22. It seems like it's moving though. Bitcoin has had a big buy event this morning. Oh, Paul, despite the 3,000 correction downward, BTC has 5 consecutive months of gains. Well, so what I'm seeing in Bitcoin is there is support at 10K, and the bulls are going to defend that with everything they have. If it gets below 10K, and it's really hard for me to predict, if they were to get below 10K, I think that you could see a real flush. Now, the way that this has happened, I think that a 10K is possible. This kind of sharp move up that we're seeing right now, this morning, is a bit too much, and I would be a little concerned. That was some money shot right there. Yeah. If you were to sell it at 19. Oops, didn't want to close that one. That was the dashboard. Trade BTC or HODL. Oh, I opened up twitch.tv and it unmuted my thing and was playing back to me. Sorry about that. So, my strategy, my personal strategy in Bitcoin, which is much more of a higher time frame strategy, says that Bitcoin is too high here. So I'm just not touching it, just watching it. Yang's thing, Paul Krugman has a good point here. Yang's thing is that automation is destroying all the jobs, so we need universal basic income. There's a case for universal basic income and a case against in favor of more targeted aid. But either way, the premise is wrong. Productivity has been slowing down, not speeding up. So if productivity just stagnates, does that mean that eventually wages will increase though? I'm not sure he's right about that one. They are selling it pretty hard here. Let's see if they give us some pullback to the upside, if maybe they show us that they really are going to push it down. So I'm a little afraid that if I was to just hit into 24, that they would mess with me a bit too much. There was too much interest at 24. Now I'm gonna hide this. My level 2 changes. My little the average. I don't need to see that right now. Transparent. I do think that the open was at 28, and the fact that they actually tested that twice and have moved lower is important, because lately they do not want to come back to the open price at all. It's been, as of late, it's been quite rare. Now, on the other hand, does this mean that the E-mini is going to move up a little bit again? Maybe not. If rates move down, then that's bad for the E-mini if that's what, but we don't know if that's really what's been driving the E-mini or not. It's just a theory still. I don't have enough data to really confirm that that's what it is. I changed my rendering settings, and I haven't had as many skipped frames. We haven't had like a crazy move yet, but how does it look to you guys? Does it look good? Because I think I might keep it this way. Oh. There was something else we were talking about that I wasn't quite done talking about. Oh yeah, Uzi was saying that Islam is higher on the stack than LGBTQ. It has been in the Democrats' priorities lately, hasn't it? Which is kind of interesting, but the thing is that I'm not so sure that the Democrats need the thing is that I think that the LGBTQ community is going to support the left no matter what. I think that they can make a calculated decision to, kind of abandon them. They can afford to do that. Well, another thing, I changed the some of my volume yesterday. So does everything sound okay? I'm not like cutting out too quickly, am I? Maybe I am. Maybe I should change that. Let's change that. Filters. The expander. The release should be more like, let's try 75. It depends on what side of the pond you're on. Birmingham, UK, for instance, shut down LGBTQ teaching in schools because their Muslim population protested it. Yeah, but do you really think that LGBTQ activists are going to be that concerned over that? Lucas says, as good as always. Okay. There was a lot of noise yesterday in the background, so I made my expander a little bit more aggressive. Ooh, okay. 24 is like, nope. Did you see? They took it there, and somebody pushed it back up and immediately stacked 2K there again. Yeah, actually, they were concerned that they had removed that from the curriculum. What's Lucas say? I was going to ask about that, Uzi. I had the feeling Muslims don't like LGBT. Yeah. Islamic political conservatism is the future of conservative politics. Oh man, no, I don't think so. I hope not. I mean, it would really kill me to have to vote for a Democrat, but if that's the way that things went, I would do it. Because to me, I don't consider. I've thought about this a little bit because, like, where do I fall on the spectrum? What would I brand myself as? Um, I've always been a Republican. I definitely feel like I'm a Republican first. I'm not into this conservatism first, Republican first, because I've seen that and it doesn't work. And the thing is that I think that the idea of conservative first has a little bit too much, politician worship behind it. That like, if you put a conservative politician in there, things will be different. And I think that we've seen that, and we've seen that it doesn't work. So I do tend to be pretty conservative, but there are a couple of things that I think conservatives seem to believe that I think are nonsense. Like a lot of conservatives seem to think that it would be great if we went back to the gold standard, and I think that that's ridiculous. So I think that it would be more accurate to say that I am a constitutionalist. And if the Republican Party, started to ignore constitutional liberties, and that includes the right to privacy. They've ignored the right to privacy, and I think that's a big concern. But even more importantly, First Amendment and Second Amendment rights. So if conservative Muslims came in and turned the Republican Party into a one that was against free speech, I would leave 100%. 100%. It's a problem utopian progressives will inevitably face. Christian conservatism is dying a rapid death. Maybe. Islamic conservatism dislikes LGBTQ more than Christian conservatism, yeah. So did you, we were talking about that the other day, but I was watching Crowder. He was talking about the transgender issue. And his closing argument was that if you sit down and say that these two things are interchangeable, then what you're really saying is that there's no inherent value in being male or female. And that sets people up to fail at the important gender roles like being mothers and fathers. And it makes society weaker as a result. That's kind of a Christian conservatism argument, but I think that he was able to make it in without invoking religion. But it's a problem. Among the youth, religion is really not popular. and there's an elephant in the room that when I read about these articles, when they're talking about this sort of thing, they never say it. But I'm willing to say it because I can say whatever I want. Millennials and Generation Z are not as into religion as their parents are because they want to fuck around. It's the truth. That's why they don't like religion, because religion says you shouldn't have sex before you're married, and they want to have premarital sex. And that's why they don't like religion. So, the question is, what do they turn to without religion? Conservatives are fighting a losing battle according to Islam because of the conservative nature of Islam. That's why I find Islam's place in the progressive stack so fascinating. Well, I think the reason that they're in the progressive stack is because conservatives have been, because of the Iraq war, right? If Iraq and Afghanistan didn't happen, progressives wouldn't be courting Islam, probably. You think would you agree with that? I'm kind of tempted to just, I suppose, if they could do it. because they fought there pretty hard at 24 and failed. It's what happens with feminism when they court LGBT. They now have trans beating them in competitive sports. Yeah. That's another really fascinating issue is how some parts of the feminist movement are extremely anti-trans rights. Islam is undeniably conservative. As someone who spent a few years in the mosque among the local Muslim community, the average progressive has no clue how conservative they are. So then how do you explain the somebody like Ilhan Omar? Do you think that she's just become part of the progressive team, and so that's why she supports so aggressively progressive policies? Because there is nothing about that woman that is conservative. At that point, you would have to say that person supports what they do because they're essentially brainwashed or something, right? It's a facade. Oh, okay. Good theory. Do you have supporting evidence for that theory? So if I'm reading you right, what you're saying is that Ilhan Omar supports progressive causes because it gives her more political power, and she really doesn't actually believe any of that stuff. She's still a very conservative Muslim deep down, and that she's just playing the progressives for political power. It's called taqiyya. Yeah. Interesting. That would be the sort of thing, though, that would be hard to prove, huh? Because we're basically accusing her of having a secret agenda that she doesn't tell the rest of us. An agenda that would make sense given her religion, but that we can't prove. Well, not so sure that I'm going to get filled at 24 now. And 23 is too close because, 22 was the target, right? Statistically speaking, they believe you shouldn't leave the religion you belong to, meaning Islam, and if you do, you're a traitor. How much more conservative can you get? It's all about the long play. Okay. No, you're right. Well, what you're saying about this belief among Islam in general, you know what? I never turned the light on. Let's turn the light on so that you can see me better. I look so much better that way. But the issue is still, how do you prove that that's what's motivating her? You get what I mean? Because otherwise, it's essentially a conspiracy theory. It's probably true, but I have to be a stickler for, if we're going to make an accusation like that, you have to be able to prove it. Otherwise, it's slander. The big goal is opening the borders. That might be true for them. Well, it does seem like Ilhan Omar cares more about issues of the border than anything else. But it's kind of hard to say because we haven't really heard a whole lot from her lately, have we? Yeah, see, so I got filled there at 24 too easily. How else do you flood a nation with your preferred demographic? Yeah. But again, here's the problem. Is like, okay, we have a theory. Let's just stick with me here, okay? We have a theory that this is what's happening, that Muslims want Western nations to open up their borders so that more Muslims can enter those countries and take them over and turn them into Muslim countries, and then they would then at that point take away our constitutional rights and turn things into Sharia law, right? That is something that some Muslims believe. But in order for it to actually be a thing politically, in order for you to be able to make a mainstream argument with it and to actually alert people to that this is actually happening, you have to have supporting evidence in the form of specific politicians doing things for those reasons and being able to prove that that's why they did it. Otherwise, you're essentially accusing them of thought crime, right? So, because we're saying that they hold a belief that is secret. How do you prove a secret belief? You can't do it unless she screws up, right? Unless she slips and lets us know what her true intentions are. Otherwise, you're just using, dog whistles and speculation to prove your point. And which is why that doesn't go anywhere. You know what I mean? Any Muslim will tell you when asked about the future caliphate, they are having more babies. They're not trying in South America. Guess why? Because they don't think they could out reproduce them. Could have gotten filled at 24.5. Oh, because we don't have rich countries in South America. Well, and that was going to be my second guess. People think that a replacement migration agenda is a conspiracy when the UN has documents on it in their website from the early 2000s. Well, that's true. Okay, so that's true. There are documents. Of course they do, because the UN is very much controlled by Muslim countries. And you could read that more as that Western nations want more immigration so that they can pay for Social Security and things like that, and that they're not involved, or that they're just rubes for Muslims who want to replace people and then spread Islam and take away our rights. He's already short, Ace. At 38.50. I think I'll do it too. I'm looking at the chart. I wasn't even thinking about that. But the way that the treasuries are turning here, if I do that, can I? Cool. Right. Okay. And my E-mini got filled. Copycat, right? Well, I wanted to. Here's the thing. I wanted to short the E-mini yesterday. I did it. I didn't really get paid. I came back and I said, well, there could still be a fall. I'm just looking at my numbers here, and I'm getting enough of a signal. I'm getting enough of it's high enough that I can take it. And if Ace is coming in and seeing it too, I think that it's worth taking. And then you add to that the fact that the treasuries are pulling back, and that they were quite insistent at 24. And that's the bigger thing, is that I want to flip. I was short the treasuries. Now I want to be long the treasuries. This is the same thing as being short the E-mini, I guess. We'll see if it works out. But I'm thinking if treasuries are truly buying and it's not just a pullback, it must be because they're thinking about killing the E-mini. So it's a pretty speculative call I'm making here. But I see some technical support for that. And look, now they're holding at 24.5. This might be more than a pullback in the treasury. At 24 did not want to go. They pushed through them. There wasn't actually interest below them. And now they're buying at 24.5, and it doesn't look like the sellers are that interested. That's like Agenda 21 for the longest time. I thought it was some dopey conspiracy theory. Then I read it on the UN's website. Yeah, no, I've read the thing on the UN's website. But again, the question is how do you prove that that's what motivates Ilhan Omar, right? Or any other Democrat or any other policymaker in the United States, right? Because we can say, oh, let me take it the other direction, okay? There are white nationalists out there, okay? There are people that want the United States to be a white ethno state. That's what a white nationalist is, which means that they think that the United States should have its laws geared towards the interests of white people over other people. That's what they think, okay? And for some white nationalists, that would even include getting people that are not white to leave the country. But I don't think that's like a core thing of white nationalism, but I think some of them differ on that. But anyways, the core definition is that they think that the United States laws should favor white people. Okay. Now, there are people out there that claim that Steve King has white nationalist ties. He's a senator, right? Is he a senator? Or is he a member of the House? I forget. But anyways, he's been accused of being a white nationalist. He says that he's not a white nationalist. But we know that white nationalists are out there. And we know that the end result of their policy is basically like Holocaust. Okay. And how do you prove that Steve King is actually a white nationalist? You can't. He denies it. He says that he isn't one. So we say that he is. The liberal argument is always when you say, well, he says that he's not, they're going to say, well, if you were a white nationalist, you would never admit it. It's the same thing with Muslims, right? If you were a Muslim that wants to impose Sharia law in the United States, you would never admit it. So how do you prove that that's what's actually motivating that particular person? You can't. And, it's a problem that you can't. Because then you run into this thing where you can accuse anybody of believing something, and you couldn't hurt them politically with outright lies, but then there could be somebody could sneak up under the radar and do real harm to the country, I mean, prove it or not, there's nothing you can do to change it. The thing is, what if you're right? Okay, what if Muslims in Europe, their intention is to make Europe a Muslim country, and they take those places over, and then they start targeting America. Okay, and their intention is to impose Sharia law and take away freedom of speech rights. How do you stop them? Well, the politicians won't, but I never spoke to a Muslim politician, but Muslims at the local masjid, yeah, those folks I've talked politics with. I hear you. A says multi-lots take first profit. At one point, she is a slow one today. So did you took profits at 29.37.50. They are selling it. There's this big order at 29.35.50 that I think might be a magnet. may act as a magnet. The treasuries are moving back up, curiously enough. I did the right thing by bailing on that trade the way that I did. I felt like I was maybe being a little bit too hasty, but I think that I did the right thing. Yeah, let some of the contracts get hit. I gotcha. I was looking at some things yesterday because yesterday I caught a really good short, but then it came back on me and I didn't get a whole lot out of it. And the thing that bothers me is the way that I'm doing this. I'll take like one contract off here and then try and let the other one run. And when you let the other one run, you don't get a whole lot out of it. Versus when, if this fails, and I don't think that the way that I'm trying to play two contracts, it seems to work really well in ZN, but I'm not so sure that the way that I'm doing it in the E-mini is very good. So I think that these first few contracts need to be super, super likely to get filled, which means that I would need to do it at 1 or 2 points instead of 10. So we would need to do it at 4 or 8 instead of 10 because 10 doesn't get hit as often. Deutsche Bank said to plan cutting up to half of its equity jobs. Whoa. Maybe try and scale in. Well, that's the thing is it seems to me like if you anytime that you scale, you're actually leaving profits on the table. It seems to me that the reason that you scale is for psychological reasons. You know what I mean? Like all in and then scale out is good for you mentally because you can say, okay, I've taken some profit, and it relaxes you. That's why they recommend scaling. That's why scaling out is an effective strategy. But if you know that it's going to go further, you should leave the contract on. You'll make more money if you leave the contract on. It's just that kind of a thing. It depends on what your probability of getting hit is. And it seems to me that in the E-mini, what happens is if I take the full stop, okay, like just look at this. If I took this full stop, I lose $30, right? Here, if I take a profit here, okay, and then I'm only on one contract. So these actually all decrease. So in order for me to get 30, I actually needed to go a lot further. Right? So the way that I'm scaling out isn't good enough. I think that for this to work, there would need to be a third contract. And the third one is the one that can really run, but then the other two are just close. But anyways, I need to do some more math. I need to do some more research because I'm not so sure that my scale out strategy here is good. Okay, well the treasuries kind of paused there. Chris Matthew asked Kamala Harris how she doesn't hate white people. I don't remember that. I do remember her starting out asking Joe Biden and saying, "I don't believe that you're a racist," but and she was, and then she went into the question, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is this? This could end Joe Biden right here." I was wondering if this was maybe going to happen, if they were going to attack him on the race issue, and they did. But what I didn't expect was for her setup for it to be so potent. Good morning, John. Okay, so everything has kind of come into neutral territory right now. That's how the media is reporting it right now. Joe Biden's time is up. It probably is. But it's one of those things where it's like the media narrative becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? Okay, tick up in tenure. And man, and they cut it. Look at that. 1,800 contracts bought at 26 on the uptick. Yeah, if I was a Democrat, I would be really upset about the way that the media has treated these debates because they're 100% trying to put their foot on the scale. They totally tried to boost Warren. It was like almost blatantly obvious that they were boosting Warren in the previous debate, and now in this one, they're totally gunning for to take out the frontrunners. They're happy that Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders are taking a hit, and they're encouraging it. This close to the open, I suggest move the stop to at least break even on the rest of the contracts. Okay, sure. I like that idea. Let's do that. It is 7:21. I didn't realize that, but it's a good idea. And maybe that's part of my problem is that I'm taking the full stop. It was like the ones that I've failed on. It's like I almost never get any favorable ticks, or I only get like 4 favorable ticks, and then it goes all the way against me. And probably what I need to be doing is if I get anything favorable, then I need to, because it seems like that when I do get a winner, it goes and it never comes against me. So if I get a little bit, I think I should be moving it down. Media doesn't want a white man for the Dems. It has to be a woman or a person of color. I don't know about that. Well, so if you're right, Uzi, then that means that and I'm pretty sure that this is going to happen, that when Pete becomes one of the front runners, that they're going to push Kamala Harris over Pete, right? Because I suspect that might be what it comes down to, right? Yes, because your focus is on POC and JB. Wait, what is JB? Justice Warriors? Or no, Justice... I don't know what. If Face is talking about trading or politics. Because POC could mean the point of control. Okay. Joe Biden. I gotcha. No, so the theory, my working theory right now is that the 3 front runners in the end, it's going to be between Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, and Kamala Harris. So if Uzi is correct and the media is boosting them because they want a woman or a person of color to be the nominee, then when it comes down to Pete and Kamala, then they will push Kamala. And if it came down to Kamala and Warren, they would also push Kamala, is what you're saying. Poor Joe, he was such a darling 8 years ago. But I think My theory is that the media is trying to create a more compelling race. And so, really, what they're doing is they're boosting the people that are behind and trying to drag down the people that are up because they need to have a new flavor of the month sort of a thing. And they need to have a new front runner every month. And that will mean more interest in the race for them and more money from articles and stuff like that. Okay. If you take 3 contracts with the 2-point stop, it's 300. And for take profit, you get 1 point is 50 and another 2 point is 150. For this contract, maybe 4 points is 200. So is that risking 300 to make 400? Right. Hence the issue with scale out. But there's another thing is that if you get the once one of them gets filled, once the first contract gets filled, you're risking a lot less. In fact, at that point, you could risk twice as much and still break even, right? Zero hedge our stocks in a bear market. Sure doesn't feel like it when you're short. Yep, and you end up with a really high win rate. Exactly. But I think for that to work out, you need to have a pretty decently good win rate in the first place. And I'm not sure that I have that that's why when I do it in the 10-year, in the 10-year, it seems to work out wonderfully. Like I can get the equivalent of 5 ticks out of it almost every time. And, I feel a lot more comfortable with it. And I have to be really, really wrong. But in the E-mini, I feel like a lot of the time I'm taking shots in the dark. I don't think that I have a very good edge in the E-mini yet. And that's what I'm missing on Day Trader's calculation of average price. So Adrian, if you go into the settings here, I will show you, and you go to appearance, and then you go to the trade column, there is a checkbox here that says, okay, show P&L. That's what is that, but then include closed P&L. And then that will give you a theoretical average. So the price that gets highlighted blue or red will still be from your original entry, but the numbers over here will update to reflect what you're actually going to make when you close the whole thing. And therefore, you will see, if I get this filled, you will see that my 0 will move all the way up to here. I think that's what you want, right? Oh, good. Thanks. I'll check that out. Yep. It sounds like that was what he needed. Well, it looks like they're not going to go before the open. Well, that was curious. Not quite sure what to make of that. I was just about to move things up so I could get out, and now I'm not sure what I want to do. I'm almost comfortable saying ZB will spend the rest of the day below the initial balance. I think you're probably right. But can they make it below 24 though? Can they push a new low though? It look like they might be turning. It looks like I did it. All right, that's okay. It doesn't matter which side wins, they are financed by the same lobbyists who have to achieve their goals. That's politics with a little drama for people. People choose their own masters. It's like a sect. If you believe the chosen one and he believes in the money. um, well, I don't think it's even that. It's just, it's going back to like, this is a feature of democracy, right? If there aren't incentives, like, if what the leader is doing doesn't help anyone in particular constituency, there's no reason for them to vote for him, and he can't stay in power. It's the nature of power. You can't get away from that. The only thing that you can do is try and align the power in the interests of the most people. Is the best you can do, because it's the nature of power. There was a bit of selling on the open, but it wasn't super crazy. So even if I had kept that, it would have to be stopping out now. I just like making political predictions based on things I observe. In reality, I'm not all that invested in my political opinions. Yeah, although, something that really bothers me though is like, especially on Reddit, it seems like everybody is always trying to get ahead of things. It's like anything that happens, everybody's trying to predict what the shooter was like. It seems to me like that people are more attached to what they want things to be like than what the reality actually is. You know what I mean? Well, they had a little tiny sell, but that buy was a lot stronger. I wonder why this one updated, but not this one. It seems like let's try resizing some things here, because something's not right. Why is it that this line and this line don't line up, but these do? That's weird. So the DOMs don't always reset at the same time. Auto center takes 8. I don't know. Kind of weird. And look at the Treasuries selling again the low of the day. Well, after all of that, I'm not so sure that I can sell the E-mini again. Buyers like where you're going, mate. 155.03. The way that the E-mini is trading so far kind of suggests another relatively range-bound day, I think. the way that the treasuries are trading is, it seems like they still really want to go to 22 and get the previous day's point of control tested. Renko says, oh man, get some real charts. Why? Well, show me your screen, buddy. Let's see what your screen is. Do you have real DOMs? I mean, that's the thing. Chart doesn't matter. Having a real DOM. You want a good trader? Ask them to see their DOMs. They got lots of DOMs on there. They're probably a good trader. Like if they have more than me, they probably know what they're doing. Renko bars. You really like the Renko bars? Well, I do have charts, but I don't use the Renko bars. I mostly just look at the charts to kind of confirm what I'm seeing, refresh my memory. Like right now it seems like we're coming down and then we're going to push new lows. And then when I look at all of the my indicators on the ZN, it says, oh, look, yep, you could go a little bit further on the CCI. And, we came up and we're coming back. Magic. Also, a lot of the indicators that I use wouldn't work on Renko bars. Because the Renko bars have to repaint. And for indicators that are like tracking things live, then when you readjust everything, how do you determine which orders go into which? Or which level 2 changes go into which? And then it's not. Okay, there was some spoofing at 23 again. It looks like a cat threw up on craft paper. The CCI certainly does, doesn't it? What do you call the charts you're using? You're talking about the ones on this screen right here, the Vista chart? This one up here? The one up top? And that move down makes me want to short the E-mini, but I know that it's not time yet. And they had to move down, they had to move up. That was another move down, but it wasn't all that impressive. It hasn't gone as low as the previous move down yet, and it's already slowing down. Yes, at the bottom. So I'm not 100% sure what you're talking about, but I'll try and explain these. This one, this is the Vista chart. So the background tells you the history of bids and offers. The lighter means that there was more bids or offers at that price. This white one is cumulative delta, which is all market buys minus all market sells. This next one is a level 2 histogram. So it tells me the balance between buying and selling. Are there more bids or more offers? Right now, there's more offers. And this column is stacking and pulling. So it tells me when we tick down, was there icebergs or did the orders pull? And based on those two things, it gives you an indicator of whether buyers or sellers have the advantage. And then this bottom one is just volume. It's colored volume. So the red is how many sells there were and the blue is how many buys there were. And that's the chart. So we're getting E-mini was moving down and treasuries were moving down at the same time. 6J is also reflecting the 10-year pretty strongly right now. Okay, yeah, I guess that did answer his question. Okay, and then some strong buying comes back in. And do the treasuries push lower off of that? They don't seem ready yet. Not so sure that buyers are done yet here in the equities. My lips are chapped. There was that sell, but then look at they retraced it in cumulative delta pretty easily. Okay, there's the E-mini hitting into 22.5 now. How much issue too? Numbers in 3. Oh, that's right. There's 45. What was it? This Chicago PMI. Is that why they're pulling a little bit? Isn't the Chicago PMI an early number though? Yeah. That number, Lucas, subscribers get early. I think. Let's see. Yep. Data is given to MNI subscribers 3 minutes before the public release. So that was just it. I miss that British guy. Me too. But they caught on to us, and yeah. So I'm assuming that Chicago PMI number must have been bad. Because the Treasuries bought quite a bit on it. Uzi pulled his order and then the whole snapshot column lit up. I'm really thinking about adding the snapshot columns back in there, but I don't know how to do it without, to make room for it. Lucas says, oh, that's why they sold a bit, yeah. Well, the Treasuries bought, but yeah, they got the number early. Yep. Renko says Chicago Purchasing Managers Index in 1 minute. Well, that's already been released. 54. We don't know what the number is yet, but subscribers already have it. Just saying, in 5 minutes, you're not going to see a poll. or 30 seconds, I guess. You're not going to see a pull. You might see another reaction as the broader market sees what the number is, but 10 seconds? That's not fair. Yeah, that's the only number that's like that. But subscribers get it 3 minutes early. It's kind of a really good thing, though, is that you don't necessarily need to even know what the number is. You can just kind of watch the market and you can know that it was bad, right? Okay. So now the number is out to everybody. Let's see if I can get it to show up here. It was 49.7 versus an expected 54. How do you know this stuff? So if you go to the Forex Factory calendar and you click this little folder open detail thing, it says right here, data is given to MNI subscribers 3 minutes before the public release of the calendar. And I just remember that one because I know that there's one number that comes out at 7:45 that's a PMI number that they do that with. And it caught me like 2 or 3 times, and then I've always remembered since then. I haven't been doing a very good job though with the context on the days this week. Like yesterday, I should have been saying, this is a buy day, and I didn't. Because I knew that it was the end of the week, and I didn't keep track of that there was a 7-year auction because the Forex Factory doesn't tell you about the 7-year and the note auctions, things like that. We got a little good move there. Definitely some people giving in. Oh, look at there was that big iceberg at 29.37. Did you get short too, Ace? Where did you get in from? There's one thing I got right so far, rangy day. Yeah, in Treasuries, it's been pretty rangy, hasn't it? So this is where I think, okay, I got that much. I think I should bring that in, at the very least. Of course, I didn't capitalize on that. I'm kind of starting to wonder now. When you look at the cumulative delta on this move and compare it to like the cumulative delta on yesterday's move, it's pretty ugly. So see here, watch if this gets filled where the 30 moves to. Okay, so now to get 30, I'd have to come down to 29, 35, 25, right? But you can see now I got in at 29, 38, 75. Way up there where I said not to get in. Of course, I didn't take my own advice. So let's talk targets here in the E-mini, man. 29.30. Well, that's where my auto thing comes. But then after that, there's 27. The way this is moving, I think I should get rid of that. And, because I did that, because it's one order cancels all. Okay. So there was a little bit of cascading there. This might be a spot for it to stop a little bit. They're trying to stop it from getting to 33. They went through that big order, that 35 that's been there all morning though. Equity's getting flushed here at the open. Oh, ace took 29, 39.75. And what did I get? 38.75. Okay. I'm kind of noticing that my CCI is coming back to 0, even though they're still moving down. That's not a good sign. That's a very indicative of extremely strong trends. Okay, so there's the 33. But the 33 doesn't appear to be offering any resistance at all. Look at Seth getting his money back. Well, I'm positive over the past 2 days, I guess. So the thing that's going through my head right now is yesterday's move went this far for me. And there was many times where I was sitting there looking at that 40 right there. Take profit at 40. And I didn't do it. And that one retraced. So I'm sitting here thinking, should I take the profit now? Or can it go further? But when I look at this move, I think this move is very different. Don't you think? Would you agree with that? This move seems different to me. I think that this is the one that I should be letting push. I don't know. I don't want to get greedy, of course. There is a little bit of a pullback going on right now. Apple extends IVE losses on reports Mac Pro production is moving to China. I don't know. Is the Chicago PMI, in theory, you should let every winning trade push? I'm not so sure that's true. I mean, I know in the 10-year, if I get 8 ticks, it's probably best for me to take it. Move your stop to a better profit level. There, you're right. Actually, it can move to there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. because I take my profit at 10, it kind of makes all of the numbers a little wonky. Remind me, Ace, you let it come back 8, right? You trail it by 8, if I recall correctly. But see, this here is kind of still this is a good example of what I say bothers me though. Is so 30 is where, um, if I had taken the full stop loss, that's 30, right? It took a pretty good move to get us to 30, didn't it? And I'm not sure even after that good move, I think that it's going to go for more, but I'm not entirely sure. You know, it depends on if the kids need new shoes or not. I think the kids need new shoes. I've been looking at uninterruptible power supplies for my computer, and, I think I would like to spend a lot of money on one, perhaps. I would like to buy that $40,000 one. So we should let it run, right? I lock in if you write at 2 points and then tell the rest about you ticks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You would be out. So then question number 2 is, do you think that it can go for more? I really. So here's the problem. I don't trust myself in this particular situation because I've been in this so many times before that I know that I'm not necessarily great at knowing this. I feel really strongly that it's going to go for more. But I've been wrong many times. I was looking at one for a couple hundred on Amazon. Yeah, it seems to me like the one that I would probably want to get, because I don't think that I need sine power. As I was looking, so sine power is like it makes sure that the power that comes out is constant. So if you needed to use it for like a drill or something, then that would matter. But I think that for the PC, because it has, and my monitors, they all have their own little power brick, that doesn't matter. So then the one that I would need to get is like $150. And I actually found one for sale on the classified ads for 100. He says, I think I paid $40 for each of my 2 battery backups. Yeah. So then I was looking at a smaller one just for the router, and that one was $40. I think I found somebody with one for 20 on classifieds. But the battery backup that was 150, it looked like it was pretty hefty. Like, it seemed like that was the nicest thing that you would ever need for a desktop PC. Okay, so the CCI has about retraced now. So if this is a pullback, this is the place where they could do it. Not sure Treasuries will react that fast to a move like that in ES, but I suppose it's possible. Doubtful. Another 2 in the 3/4 move in ES will move ZB that far. There's also a problem when I'm looking here on this chart. I can see the line in the E-mini, right? They're definitely hitting support at 29.33. It's funny because when it first touched it, I said, well, they went through it a little bit too easily. I'm not sure if there's actually support there. But they did stop there. I know guys have two separate computer cable stuff, but I'll save that for when I pull down 40 bazillion a day. Yeah, I mean, honestly, you only need like 10 seconds to get out of a trade, right? So it doesn't have to be a super great UPS. I think I would need at least 4 plugs, so there's one for the PC and one for each of the monitors. Okay, so that was a relatively strong buy impulse there. Retraced. Not sure what to think here. Unless you want to keep trading now. If my power like went out straight up, I mean the thing is I think yesterday I got a brownout, is what it seems like happened to me. Because it was weird. The PC didn't turn off. The PC it was just all of my monitors restarted and my internet died. Okay. Sellers are making slow and steady progress down, but I'm not seeing a change in the cumulative delta yet. I'm also Treasuries are kind of doing some wild stuff here. Like Treasuries pushed down quite a bit. Uzi short 12. Are we going to get sell all the things? See, that's just me going, that's what I want to have happen. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Adrian. I was on the wrong screen. If we got sell all of the things, that would make me super happy. Uzi shorted 12 and he's already out at 10, huh? Okay, now I'm starting to see the cumulative delta go down. And they're so close to that low. Could they really push this through? That easy? Okay. Kind of seeing the stuff like I'm thinking if I was long, I would have been like, ooh, yes, that uptick, that's really good. Oh, no, wait, now it's bad. Like right there, 29.34. It looks like the buyers pull it out, but then they just stick back down again. And it goes down another tick. See that? I may go again if she goes a little higher. So you're still buying a short in Treasuries, huh? Well, this move down in equities is starting to put some fear into the Treasuries. They did tick up there. Lucas, just been curious, Susie, are you doing better, the same, worse since May ended? Do you find yourself taking more or less trades? That's a good question. I'm interested to see what he's going to say. So I know that in some of those days in May, he got some really big runners. But then today he's only taking two. I'm doing better since May, taking more trades. I've increased my volume over the last year and a half. Huh. Okay, so what I'm seeing right now is Treasuries moved back up. 30-year actually went a little bit higher. And you can see when that happens, the equities are reacting to it, and they've gotten back up to 29.35 really quickly. And that move down to new low and cumulative delta never really came through. You're actually getting some positive numbers in the CCI now. But I'm also getting chronically low level 2 and stuff. And when I mean increase, I mean a combination of profitable trading and deposits. Gotcha. May was not a good month for me. I lost close to 2,500. Oh, really? Into April and May. You were doing good in March, though, right? And that's the thing, though. I don't think that anybody does good every month of the year, you know? That transition into summer chop from April and May bonked me good, yeah. Dude, the summer chop is just, it's so much harder, even when you know it's coming. I really thought, oh, you know it's coming and you know what you need to do to adjust, that would resolve some of that, but no. So the sellers are making their push again, but you're not seeing it come through in cumulative delta. It kind of feels to me like the treasuries moving back up are boosting equities again. The interest rates are helping them, which is kind of like a bad thing. Like when the equities eventually get pushed over the edge that treasuries are going up because there's going to be a recession, then when equities fall, it's going to be ugly. I've had a few rough days a month, but my bills are paid. There's food in the fridge, and to be honest, it's mostly watermelon at this point. Sorry, Seth, you said above RTH open, so it's 127, 27.5 NCN, and 17 NCP. That seems possible if ES hits its overnight low. I'm not really getting very good reads here in order flow. The E-mini just seems to be moving around randomly. Hmm. The Treasuries, I'm not sure what's going on. NQ looks like it's trying to trade up off of its opening range lows too. There's some real support at 33. They put in a higher low on the retest there. Yeah. You're talking about in ZN. So there they go down. 3 ticks are really easy again. What's with that? Well, there was a big 754 at 29.35.50. They're going to come and hit me. When I look at the swing and I look at the pullback, it still looks like a pretty clear pullback. Why can't we get Why can't we get sellers to come in? Okay. Kind of miss those days when Shalom would come in about now and tell us how the world was about to end. Good times, good times. I know, right? But I think I was a little too mean to him the other day. When he was like, they're all clueless like you. And I was like, well, if you think I'm clueless, then why do you come? And then, of course, that day, Bitcoin crashed. I was like, I was hoping you was going to come back. I was going to be like, so Shalom, how does it feel to have 10% less today? Are you concerned? Because you know what he's going to say, right? Like, I'll pretend. So, no, see, this is buy the dip, folks. We can just buy the dip, but the world is about to end, and you want to buy Bitcoin because it's going to be 20,000 by the end of the month, and it's going to be 100,000 by the end of the year, or something like that. You know that's what they're thinking, right? Okay, now I get a tick down in cumulative delta. Because that I've had the market run away from me more times than I can remember. And he says, because that isn't how market works. For every buyer, there is a seller. Yeah. Well, actually, no, that's not true. There could be two buyers and one seller, but the seller has twice as much money as the two buyers. Right? That's where things get tricky. It seems to me in Bitcoin that you've got a few guys, maybe 100, maybe a dozen to 100 guys that have a ton of effing money. And then you have everybody else. And those everybody else buy in when it's like really going in those real momentum, and they get screwed over every time. And they get burned out, and so then they do the whole cycle so that they can get a new group of suckers. Except for that this past time, I think that the last group of suckers never gave up on it. I don't know, folks. We were getting some negative delta, and they pulled it out again. Finally, they stopped me out. It makes me sad, guys. I gave back so much. So I think I should adjust something. On this 71, I have this at 32. Should be 24. It helps to have a buffer to bail. I used to try and market into weak inside bids or offers, but in the long run, stuff doesn't work. I just called my CMI guy to see if he could tweak the S&P 500 down for us, and all I heard was a beach, white sand, and cocktails. I'm assuming that he isn't in the office today. Oh, did we? I totally forgot. We had numbers. I didn't even realize what time it was. Consumer sentiment was 98.2, so that's good. Inflation expectations was 2.7 versus 2.6, which is also better than expected. I was a seller all day yesterday trying to trade the range. Such a loser, Kevin Campbell. I'm sorry, dude. I tried selling it yesterday and I caught a really good winner off, just like this one, really. This reminds me a lot of yesterday. That's why I just changed my strategy. But, when Larry Kudlow was speaking, they sold and I got a really good winner, and then I only got like $20 out of it. And then I took another one after that. That was a loser. So it wasn't like it was a bad day by any means, but I was disappointed. See, it was like I caught a good move there and I only took $25 off of it. It's not enough. It's not enough for what I'm taking if I'm like dead wrong. I would need to have a much, much higher probability than I have, because right now it's like 50-50. Well, maybe they're turning a little bit now. It's like they just come back up. They came back up just for my stop. Now they're going to go and make new lows, aren't they? Down 450. What, on the E-mini? Ouch. When I first started trading, I always thought range trading would be easy. Turns out I'm terrible at it. Yeah. I think that trading the trend is a lot easier. For sure. No question. Trend trading is easier. Three-point stops. Ooh, so you took a lot of trades that stopped out. Do you have what's like your daily? So I normally go, if I lose 3 times in a row, then I stop. That's how I do it. So I can feel myself right now mad that we had to get out of that trade and that it's a little bit lower where it is, and I could be taking like 30 or 40, and I want to sell it again to think that I could go and get a lower. Renko says your stops are too close. Well, I moved that stop. Remember, I said if it gets to here, then that's more than just a pullback. That's the thing. It was more than just a pullback. So I don't really, even at this point, I'm still not sure if they're going to go for, I don't have an edge, at least. I don't have a certain edge that is going to go more. I still feel like the E-mini is going to go lower, but yeah. I think, though, I adjusted my strategy. If I had gotten 24, I don't think I ever got 24 off of that one, did I? I got 23. It didn't go to 24. That's okay. Wait a second. If I pull up yesterday's, that one went 31. I think 24 is okay. Anyways, if I had taken the 24, then I could wait for the pullback and I could have taken it short again. And usually pointing out that ZB is back to the initial balance. So this is one, now that it's been up here this many times, it's an uncertain trade because they may try and buy it up above it. But then this is where I'm not sure in the E-mini again. Because E-mini seems to really like the lower rates. So if treasuries go higher, does the E-mini recover a bit? I mean, that's not the normal correlation, but that's been uncertain. So we can't really rely on correlation for a trade. Do I see any kind of imbalance that makes me really certain that it's going to go down? I don't. It's like it's coming up. They're not really selling it. If they come down to the lows again, they could really run. I suppose that I could try and trigger in if it got below a certain point. Yeah, I could do that. My number one rule, don't trade the S, so I never have to worry about whether I should hold my position or not. It's kind of weird when they do that. It's like they know the stop is there. I don't know. I still give it to you guys, and yes, that's a rowdy beast. Yeah, so the internal battle I've been having with myself yesterday was I had that trade, and I was like, oh, so that was really great, but then I didn't really get paid for it. Am I just getting lucky? And I think that in some of these cases I am. And so I don't feel like I have a super strong edge in the E-mini, and I feel like it's just like a lot of work for nothing. And so I would much rather just continue to trade treasuries. But the the small size of the micro is just so attractive to me. I'm not saying what's better or worse. I'm just saying you guys are the Cowboys. That yes, is strategy. Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I think that there's ways of doing it that can be really conservative, just like in the treasuries. But I really like treasuries. Here's the thing that I like that I don't like about the E-mini is that the treasuries, there's nothing else. It's just, is the Fed going to raise or lower rates? And it's a commodity. It's a true commodity. And an equity index isn't a true commodity. It's cash settled. And the price of the index is based on a trillion things. There's so many things that go into it. There's no way that a person, or probably not even a computer, can really truly calculate what it should be. And so, there are things about it, the ES, that are good, but when you want to do order flow, the ES is more likely to move against the order flow than the 10-year is. Time to interrogate. Do you go for a few ticks or 10 or so points? Yeah, so what Ace does is he usually takes one trade before the open, and he's literally only going for like 2 points, right? He takes like the smallest thing that you could take in ES, and he just does it every day, and he gets it like almost every time. It hasn't been as good the past 2 weeks, but since the summer started, but man, there was a real win streak there where I was like, is this guy for real? Because this is happening every time, and he tells us when he takes the trade and everything. Okay, well, I think the answer to the big question was that when it was down and I could have gotten 40, I should have taken it. And that's the truth. I don't like trading after 8:30. Seems to me like it's made its move. I don't know if the E-mini really wants to trend today. You don't need 10 ticks to know it's going against you. The thing is in the E-mini, your range is like 8. So you could be in the wrong spot in the range and have it go 8 ticks against you, and then still have it come back and it be a good winner. But you clearly executed wrong, though, if you got in the wrong spot in the range, right? The thing I don't like about what just happened there was that maybe I should have trailed my stop closer. What do you guys think? If I had trailed it at 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 would have been about right there. 29, 34, 75. That would have been better. And it's like, if it's 8 ticks, then at least that move is done. I could have also done it by time. How long was I in that? I was in that for, what's wrong? How come they're not, I'm kind of confused here. Hold on a second. There we go. Okay, now I have it. So I was in that one for 30 minutes. I think that was probably too wrong. Too long. Well, actually, maybe it was about right. 30 minutes for a trade. I guess that's okay. Kevin, and some days you let it run like today, and that makes up for lots of little losses I've been short since 4 minutes after the open. You're still in Ace? How does he know? He didn't take the 8 tick stop. I'm feeling super FOMO right now. Look, it's gonna go. It's gonna go. I could be taking 40 right there. In fact, where I got out was almost like the worst spot. 29.36.25. Fuck. How is that fucking possible? Explain this to me. It was just random that I moved it there. They literally went right to it, touched it, and turned around. I don't want to say that the market is out to get me, but good grief. How did that happen? What am I doing? It's clearly when it's that bad, like I'm doing something wrong. And look, are they gonna dip? If I had left that stop order there, I would have taken me short. But they didn't actually go. So that means that it wasn't exactly the trade that I wanted. Dumb crazy. Treasuries want to go higher. Treasuries are feeling the squeeze. They're getting a little scared now that the E-mini is at lows again. So those correlations holding is a good thing. Check out those offers. Now there's some big offers up above us. There's big offers up above us in almost everything, in fact. So there's one at 29.34 and one at 29.34.75. So they came down to that low and the cumulative delta has been flat through that. Kevin's in. Is that long or short? I don't know if they're actually going to make a new low here, guys. He went long. 33.75 is actually, I was just thinking I wouldn't mind being long right there. 29.35 was too high. Well, look, here comes the longs again. I think it's the same dynamic, like treasuries are high, equities like it, low rates. It's preventing the E-mini from crashing. Well, how many did we take today? Oh, it was really just that one. And the ZN one that I guess we bailed on, but was not really terribly important. Well, you're building a nice profile here between 34 and 35 that you could play on. Hello, would you like a follow? Well, I always like follows. I stream to multiple platforms, so most of my followers follow me on YouTube. We've got about almost 1,500 subscribers now. We're getting close. We're like 1,460 right now. And YouTube is probably the best way to follow me. But I really like it when we get numbers on Twitch because I want to attract young people. I want 19-year-olds to come in here and say, hey, I think trading is for me, and to start learning how to trade when they're young. 29, 33, 75 long was a good entry, yeah. It was really good. You think you could get 8 out of it? 34.75, 35.75. You might get the 2 ticks or the 2 points. I think it'd be worth watching. Maybe we could also take it from 29, 34.75 right there like that. But you know that as soon as I buy it, they're going to try and sell it against me. So we can take their money. Right. That last trade really makes me wonder because they literally just went up and triggered me and then turned around. There's no way that the market could know that. I mean, it has to be a total coincidence because that is a virtual stop, but good grief. Could not have been any more perfectly bad. I had moved my tick. I had moved my stop even 1 tick. I could have done down there, and then when they didn't make a new low, I would have taken 35. $15 that I left on the table. Yeah. Look at how much buying is coming into ES on the cumulative delta. Treasuries, quite a few steps higher there now. They're stream sniping you. I don't know, man. You would have to be really big to be able to stream snipe me with that level of precision in the equity market. In the S&P 500. I don't believe it's possible, but it was too perfect, wasn't it? It was too perfect. I have to say though, if somebody was going to try and stream snipe me, it probably wouldn't be a good idea. Depending on the time of year, of course. There was sometimes, like I remember at the beginning of the year, like February, March, I was kind of thinking the same thing because there was some people that were claiming to be doing that to people, and people in chat were asking me, and I was like, well, yeah, but if they stream sniping me, they're losing money because I was doing really well at that time. 27 is weekly value high in ZB. Big boy chilling with the offer at 28. Ooh, yes, you're right. Good catch, Uzi. Kevin. It's stalling. It might be all bad. I don't know, man. Here's the thing. If it's going to be treasuries higher, equities higher, like it was yesterday, kind of. Yeah, like it was yesterday, let's say. Then, sorry, I just noticed something about my chart. Anyways, if that's what it's going to be, then it's going to be a very, very slow creep higher. Well, I guess I could still trade till 9:30. I might try and take a sim trade. You just have to trade what's in front of you at the moment. Yeah, I just bought it support and hope for the best. You know, catching that was support was a pretty good trade, dude. I was thinking about buying it, but I just didn't have the guts to pull the trigger like you did. It's interesting to watch when there's differences between the two. Like if you noticed when the E-mini moves, you'll see stops over here, but not over here. Kind of looks like they're running into some resistance now too, though. Slick CB, Amelia Clark. Oh, hey. Amelia Clark fanboy. ZB has crossed the thresholds with offers pulling on the inside. Yeah. Notice how strong the stacking and pulling is blue here in CB and ZN. I'm still getting this weird thing in ZF where it doesn't size it right. Can look and see if we can fix it. Flip. 5. Maybe it's just too equal. We took out a pretty big offer there, 29.3525. Look at the treasuries, man. So this is the same thing as yesterday where it's like, I shouldn't be buying this. But I'm more interested in the E-mini. They could go for yesterday's high 30.5. How much money do you think actually does move the indexes? Well, so when you look over at this one, well, so first of all, what really moves the indexes is all of the stocks underneath actually moving. There is kind of a little bit of a wag the dog sort of a thing that goes on, but you really got to be like, yeah, it's hard, right? But you know, every contract that's on there is $500. Okay, so $100,000, $200,000 just to make it move up one tick. Okay, so to have moved it up solely by yourself, of course, it wouldn't be completely by yourself, but to completely move it up by yourself all the way up to my stop, you're talking about millions of dollars, you know. And somebody that has millions of dollars, why would they sit and watch somebody's stream and try and snipe them like that? You know what I mean? Look, E-mini, some hits into 30, ES, 2 ticks higher. They're buying on the Fed easing. And there was a big offer at 29.36 that they didn't get through. Hmm. $29.36 is the VWAP. That's probably why. I guess USD is responsible for the ES underperforming foreign indexes blurring the picture. Looking at 43.45 for the sell-off. In ES, like 23.43. Now to invest this, cool. Yeah, thank you. By the way, thank you for chatting. I know I stream to multiple platforms, and I know there's not as much activity on the Twitch, and I haven't had my robot running that sends the things over because I can't do that and also see the Discord in my chat window. So, you know, I really appreciate it when people talk on Twitch. So there's a little bit of shuffling going around in the equity indexes now. And the E-mini appears to be Okay. Well, I got a little one out of it. So there's that. That's cool. I'm just not so sure that by the time that I really have to go, oh, you know what? I really do have to go at 8 and 9 too. Because I have a doctor's appointment. So, anyways, I almost forgot about that. And I forgot about it the first time and I had to pay money. Oh, man. That was like Tuesday. And I'm sick. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I'm really sick. So, probably best that I just leave it. Well, I feel like I left some money on the table, but we're learning. I think a few little adjustments here and there. Oh, you think that, yeah, he's saying 29.43. Yeah, that's not unreasonable. Well, I don't know if they're going to make it to the high of the day per se, but I think that a retracement to 29.38, which was before the PMI news, would be totally reasonable. So, I don't know. I think that I really felt like that they should be selling, but there's a lot of options going on today, so that might be why they're not doing that. We might, if that theory runs through, though, then we could see some real selling next week. But anyways, I think it's time to go. So, hey, thank you guys. I thought, first of all, good discussion today. A couple of, an unusually high number of new people today. So I really appreciate you guys coming in and talking with us, and hope you guys come back again, because we got a pretty good core group of people, of about a dozen guys that are here literally every day. And I was thinking about this morning, like, is maybe sometimes the community a problem, because I think about it, it was like, let's say that this whole thing is a dream, and then I wake up and they say, okay, Seth, so that is like what we could give you. We can't make you a millionaire, but we could give you this really great YouTube community, but you have to give us $1 million right now. And I was some millionaire in this real reality. I would do it totally if I had to blow $1 million to do it. But of course, we still need to do well, because that grows the community too. So that's one of my big motivations right now, is I really want to be responsible and do this well, so that you guys can learn from it, and so that we can grow the community, and that helps everybody, right? But yeah, but the whole point of that is I really appreciate you guys coming around. So anyways, I will see you guys next week. And in the meantime, as always, stay profitable.